If you're watching this video, then you've either been told that you have high blood pressure, or maybe you're just worried about your blood pressure and now you want to know if exercise can help lower your blood pressure. Well, there's definitely some good news here. In this video, I'm going to tell you what type of exercise you can do to lower your blood pressure, how much exercise actually lowers it, and how exercise compares to medications for lowering your blood pressure. First, let's talk about what type of exercise we can do to help lower our blood pressure. In reality, we can do a whole range of different types of exercise to help lower our blood pressure. There have been a lot of studies showing that aerobic training, resistance training, high intensity training, combined strength and cardio, and isometric exercises all can help lower your blood pressure. Also, in recent years, there have been some new studies showing that isometric exercises in particular, or things like wall sits and planks or grip training, can be beneficial for lowering your blood pressure, even more than other types of exercise. However, the most important thing when choosing exercise to do is pick something that you enjoy and can stick with. If you do exercise for 5 days and then you never do it again, that's not gonna make a big difference for your blood pressure. Whereas if you can find something you enjoy and stick with it, that will have a way bigger impact on it. Personally, I would not hyper focus on doing just isometric exercises, but instead you can incorporate into your exercise routine that includes resistance training and aerobic training. The studies on isometric training saw groups do about 4 sets of 2-minute holds. So if you really want to do isometric training, you can simply add in things like wall sits for a few sets and you should be getting all the benefits you need from a blood pressure perspective. But I have a hard time saying you should only do those exercises when we know that aerobic training and resistance training has so many other benefits to offer. So now that we know what type of exercise we can do, let's talk about how much we can expect to see a decrease in our blood pressure with exercise. With patients who have been diagnosed with high blood pressure, we can expect to see about a 4 to 8 millimeter mercury drop in systolic blood pressure on average. However, there are lots of different studies showing lots of different results, so it's hard to definitively know what exercises will do for your blood pressure, and there's always a chance that there's gonna be lots of variability from patient to patient. With that being said, for aerobic training, some data showing you'll see improvements of about 10 millimeters mercury for systolic and 4 for the diastolic. For isometric training, you'll see around 10 millimeters mercury decrease in systolic. For resistance training, decrease about 7 millimeters mercury. And then for combined training, see a decrease in about 13 millimeters mercury. And so the million-dollar question is, how does this compare to medications? Well, overall, they seem somewhat similar when you're looking at exercise compared to a single blood pressure medication. But when we start to add on medications together, then we'll tend to have a greater improvement than exercise alone. However, it's not meant to be discouraging, rather it should be encouraging, because if you begin exercising, you can have results similar to starting a high blood pressure medication. And on top of that, the benefits of exercise go way beyond just lowering your blood pressure. As you know, there's so many other positive effects for our body. So really, exercise is useful regardless of what happens to your blood pressure. And finally, it's always worth noting that any of these results that we see are going to be expanded upon when we make other lifestyle changes as well, including eating a health-promoting diet, stress reduction, and getting enough sleep. But as you can see, even if you change nothing else other than your exercise, you can still have an impact on your blood pressure. And so what's my take on this topic? Well, I think you should first and foremost find an exercise style that you like and start doing that. However, if you want to get the biggest bang for your buck, I would recommend performing an exercise routine that includes resistance training, isometric training, and cardiovascular training all together. And if you want to hear more about this topic, click right here for the link to the video podcast where I go into deeper detail about exercise and blood pressure.